Okay, we're on round 7 and we're going to be making the stems that support these corner leaves, and we've got a little bit in here, as you can see, between the petals. If you watched the very early videos for Moffatt flower, you'll have heard me say that we've got a bit of structural engineering to do on this block, and if I flip this over, you'll see what I mean. There's a lot going on behind the scenes to create those 4 corners, but it's really not too worrying because it's made with chains and stuff. So the main thing to focus on this round really is where to anchor all those little bits to make sure that the stems come out where they need to be. So let's have a very quick look at round 7. Okay, so we're ready to go. I have got my olive yarn, and I'm going to take my hook. We're going to start by going through the chain space that we made in the penultimate round, so not the frilly round, the one before. And if we go all the way through there, we also pick up the chain space in the petal round that we've just done. And just as we did before down here, it will cover those pair of chains by encapsulating them in the stitch, so that will make that nice and neat and completely hidden. So joining the yarn in the usual way, we're just going to pull up a loop, and that is not and secure it with a chain, sorry, that is not a stitch. We will start proper by putting 1 double crochet into that same space. Okay, and again, just a small reminder that we're working UK terminology. Now, if you've worked Merton Abbey or leaf trellis, this next part will be very familiar to you because we're going to make 6 chain, and I'm going to whiz through it a little. If you're not sure how to work back along the chain, pop back and have a look at that video for leaf trellis because it's exactly the same, but I'm more concerned in just sort of showing you where to anchor these chains rather than the actual technicality of making the stem. So if you need to have a good close-up look at how to make the stem, like I said, you can find a video on that quite exhaustively on leaf trellis. All right, so I've worked back along the chain, and I've now got 5 double crochet in there, and I'm going to anchor that by putting a double crochet into the same space where we started. All right, I'm going to just get rid of that unnecessary bit of yarn. It wanted to come out, didn't it? Okay, so that is our first stem made, and do not worry about it being twisted. I know I keep saying this, but as soon as you put some leaf work on there, that's going to take care of it. We're now going to work behind this next petal, and we're going to use that remaining loop that we put the stitch markers into this time. So let me show you what we're going to do. We'll make 4 chain. This is just a travelling chain to get us where we need to go, and we are going to pop a double crochet into that unused loop that we marked. So now you can see why we needed to mark it. If you haven't marked it, let me take this out. Here's a good way of finding it. I'll come back out, give that a little wiggle. I've made my chain to travel behind the petal, and I would just fold that forward, and you will be able to see that unused loop just stands a little bit proud to the rest of the work. All right, so we're going to put 1 double crochet in there, 4 more chain. You can obviously follow this properly in your pattern, and then we're coming to our next pair of chains here, where we're going to go in and make 2 double crochet. Now don't worry that little chain is sort of sitting in front of the petal, because you can poke it through, no harm done, like so. 4 more chain. I might be whizzing through with numbers and stuff, but just follow it in your pattern. I'm more interested in you knowing where to put stitches really when you get to them. So we're now ready to do the same again and put another double crochet into that leftover loop, which is there, nice and marked. I'll take that pin out. We do some very beautiful Spirit of Flora stitch markers, which I should have used in these videos. Okay, 1 double crochet there, and we will work round again, 3 and 4, and we will go back into the chain space again. Okay, and now we are ready to make our next stem. Okay, so we're back to the beginning of our repeat. So what I'm interested in you knowing here is if we look at the back, you can see we've travelled behind those petals, and each of the points where we travel behind a petal, it has a stopping off point where we use that remaining loop that we left over in the last round. Okay, so it's nicely broken up, else that would be a really long chain and it would extend above the petal when we work into it next. So beautifully engineered. Anchor it in the middle of the petal, anchor between the petals, middle petal, and so on. So that's really all you need to worry about with this round. As I've said, if you really do need a little bit more focus on how to make these stems, how to work back along that chain, go and pick up that video. I'll put a link below for the leaf trellis video, which will help you with that quite extensively. I'll finish it up and we'll see what it looks like when I've done. Right, so I've finished now. You can see we've got these 4 not very straight stems on each. Well, it's now become the corners of the motif, and if I turn over you will see very clearly how that is all structured. So we make our stem to begin with, we hop across with some chain and we join in that leftover loop, more chains, then we've got a couple of double crochet in there, more chains, leftover loop, and so on. So it's all nicely nice and compact and secure, and we are ready now to start making actual leaves. So let's move on.